Yo, what up, YouTube, man? Doubling back, another video and shit today, man. I just wanted to, I don't want to really say get some shit off my chest, because this is really not what this is. But in the same breath, this is what this is. It was like this situation yesterday, right? I just want to run it past y'all. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good shit. Put in the comments if you agree or disagree, or maybe even your point of view in the situation, because I love to hear what other people have to say about it. So yesterday, I had this situation where I was at school and shit, and we was talking. I ain't really gonna get into specifics or who I was talking with or none of that, because it don't really matter, right? But we was talking and shit, and somebody was talking about how their parents was Italian and, you know, shit like that. And, you know, his mom could cook really well and shit like that. Talk about his dad and all that type of shit like that, right? So, and this get good because I lined it up so good. So, because I knew somebody would take offense to how I said this, right? So, boom. I say, yo, was your dad in the mob? So he say, huh? So I say, was your dad in the mob? He couldn't hear me because everybody was talking. So finally he caught on what I said. He said, nah, my dad wasn't in the mob. So somebody that was amongst the people we was talking with goes, why would you ask him that? That's kind of disrespectful. So I said, what, you think I'm stereotyping him? She said, yeah, that's exactly what you're doing. So I say, okay, how am I stereotyping him? Because then she was like, okay, well, now I said she. Fuck it, right? We're just going to keep following suit. Fuck it at this point. We ain't going to really get into detail. But she say, oh, yeah, because that's like if you walk up, I was like, oh, yeah, if you walk up to any black person or some shit, you ask them was they a gangbanger or some shit, they supposed to just be like, yay or nay, right? Like, that's disrespectful, right? And then after that, she was like, yeah. So I'm like, cool, but the difference is I didn't just ask any black person or any white person or none of that if they was a mobster. I was asking about his father in specific because he was born in that timeline of where mobsters and being in the mob was a very energized thing. It was a very big ongoing thing. And not to mention, we're in North Jersey. Keep this in mind. We're in North Jersey right now. I'm in Union Township, New Jersey right now. So you have people that come from everywhere up here. And not to mention, I go to a trade school. So you got people of all walks of life, work here from all walks of life, go to school here from all walks of life, bro. So you to sit up here and be like, I'm stereotyping. Not did I ask him, was he a mobster? Not did I ask him, was his cousin a mobster? I asked, was your dad a mobster? So I'm not stereotyping him. And how could I be stereotyping in general if I didn't ask him specifically? Because if he's Italian, how did I stereotype him if I asked about his dad or any Italian in general? So I could see the standpoint of you trying to say I'm ignorant for even asking that question, but in the same breath, are you right? Because not only did I find out that Italians come from one designated place, they don't come from everywhere. Yeah, they're white people, true, but they don't come from just everywhere. They come from Italy. They come from Italy. Italian people come from Italy, right? You could get black people that come from Jamaica, Haiti, Africa, America, Canada, wherever the fuck else. So that don't mean black people that's gangbangers or might have sold crack did that, because you get black people that comes from every part of the continent. You feel me? Them specific white people, Italians, come from Italy. They are known heavily for being mobsters. And not to mention, he told me his dad is from fucking Brooklyn. There's ongoing shows on TV right now as I'm speaking, bro, that has Italian people running boroughs of New York on TV right now. Right fucking now. Have we ever seen the fucking Sopranos? Is that not based in New York? Am I wrong? Like, if I'm wrong, tell me I'm tripping, bro. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Because I could see if I asked him, is he in the mob, or your cousin or your brother or some shit like that, I could understand that. That's me stereotyping. If you just ask any old black person if they're in the mob. No, I specifically asked about your father because you told me your father was born in 59. That means he grew up in the area, the era of like Myers Lansky and all them other big mobsters and shit. That's the only mobster I know. He was a snitch or some shit. He told us some shit. But I know he was a big Italian mobster, bro. I know that. And if I'm not mistaken, the nigga was either from New York or he's some shit like that. I gotta tap back into that. Maybe I'll drop another video and come back to that. You know what I'm trying to say? And then she goes, yo, don't go outside and, you know what I mean, be asking people that because that's ignorant. And I'm just in my mind like, bro, like, you, at this point, you trying to tell me how to conduct myself as a man. Like, and that's another problem. Like, since we're at a school and people, you know, do what they do or whatever the case may be, I feel like everybody that they come across, they feel as though like they're like children or some shit. So you gotta tell them how to, like, bro, I've been doing this shit before I got here. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? Like, I'm a grown ass man. I'll be 30 in July. It's July right now. It's July 2nd. I'm a grown ass man, gang. Nobody gotta tell me how to conduct myself or what to do and when not to do it. Know the fuck where I'm at. I felt like I was in a safe place to ask that question, and whether you felt the way about how I asked that question or why I asked that question, that's on you. Because I didn't ask you the question. I didn't need your answer. I didn't need your opinion. But since we're having a conversation, fine. The door is open for you to say whatever the fuck you want to say because you're a grown-ass person just like me. I'm not telling you how to talk to me right now. So you're not going to sit up here and tell me what I need to go say when I'm out and about or doing whatever I'm doing, or if I'm asking him if he a black Italian mixed martial artist with deer antlers that got super fucking powers. I'm not asking you that. I was talking to him. So I didn't need your opinion either. So don't try to tell me, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's crazy, bro. And yeah, it kind of got under my skin a little bit too. But when you in a setting like that, you can't like take shit personal. But at the same time, if you got something to say, I'ma reply back to what you're saying because you might not necessarily be right. You know what I'm trying to say? So then the first thing you get is other people that was in the conversation, the first thing they want to do is nitpick at the one thing you said. But when you address everything you said and why you said it, nobody never is wondering what, like, you know, say nothing about what you saying or why you asked that question or how you clap back at what you just said. You just want to keep talking about the same thing over and over again after I told you why I asked and I proved myself on what I did it for. Like I said, I didn't ask him if he was Italian. I didn't go outside and ask if he was, like, you know what I mean, a random Italian. Is he a mobster? Clearly, this nigga's not a mobster. He's around the same age as me, if not younger, if not a little older. We're around the same age. So how the fuck would he be in the mob? How? He fucking here with me right now. Make this shit make sense. Like, I don't get it, bro. Like, that shit had me chopped a little bit because it's just like, oh yeah, then it's like, if you ask anybody, why the fuck would you ask any black person if they're a gangbanger? When you get black people from everywhere, you get white people from everywhere, you get things, oh yeah, Mexican, that's like asking a Spanish person if they're in a cartel. What? If a Mexican motherfucker speak fluent English, born in the fucking States, in New Jersey, what ties did he really got to the fucking cartel? What cartel is in the fucking New Jersey? I'm not saying there isn't or anything like that, but what's the chances of a motherfucker that goes to Lincoln Tech got to do with the cartel? Or a Colombian person in the cartel? Or a Puerto Rican in the cartel? What? Make that, what the fuck? Like, I never, like, that, and that's the crazy shit because, like I said, I didn't even know, like, well, let me not say no because obviously Africa is Africa, then you got Ghana, da-da-da. So you get those type of people from that one place. Italy is one place. Italians are one people. We know Italians to be mobsters. If your dad was born in 59, is that really a crazy question? Is that really a crazy question? And the nigga is from New York. To part of my friends, he's not a nigga, clearly. But he's from New York, and he was born in 59, and he came up in that time. It's really crazy for me to ask if he's a mobster. If so, so be it. Maybe I was wrong. I'll take that end of the fence. But what if the motherfucker was a mobster? What if his son don't really know if he isn't a mobster? They be like, no, let me not even say that. How would he know? It just like that shit got me chopped because it's just like, bro, like I said why I asked the question. And then man, bro, I don't want to say too much about what's going on because I don't know who may or may not see this. I really don't care who sees this because this is my shit and I don't really give a fuck about who see what, or because I got my opinions and I can speak on whatever the fuck I want to speak on. But in the same breath, I just don't want to stir the pot too much. But you turn around and say you met somebody at the store, right? You meet somebody at the store and ask them how to make empanadas and they Spanish. Just because they Spanish, they supposed to just know how to make empanadas? Now, if you bop your head and be like, yeah, and say, I'm crazy for asking a motherfucker that was born in 59 from New York if he a mobster or not, we got a problem. Because now we playing, you know what I mean? Like 6-7, like we're playing now. Like, because that's crazy, gang. That's crazy. You can't go to the store and ask the first Spanish person you see, they know how to make empanadas, but I'm wrong if I ask about his dad being a mobster when in a ratio, let me not say that because maybe that ratio might not be that true. But I would think it's not too far off just because the simple fact that that's when the mob was really alive. From like the 50s up to like the 80s and shit. Like the mob was really hot and it's probably still hot right now. Not for nothing. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? But to ask any Mexican person or any Spanish person, let me not even say any specific, but if you ask any Spanish person, do they know how to make empanadas or some type of Spanish dish? What if they don't know how to cook at all? And they just be like, no, and then what if brother would have just went the fuck off on you because you asked them about some shit? Are you like, what? That's like asking any black person that they know how to make fried chicken. I don't know how to make fried fucking chicken. I don't. I know you got to use flour and grease and put the batter and shit, but I ain't never made it enough to be like, yeah, I know how to make the shit. You ain't gonna come up to me and ask me at the store, do I know how to make fried chicken? So it's like, to say I'm ignorant and then turn around and pretty much use the same gesture, whether it was dumbed down a little bit or it was in a more right cause than mine, is that still not stereotyping? That's all I want to know because I think that was crazy, gang. I'm not even gonna lie. It kind of had me tight, but in the same breath, it's like when you in a public setting having a conversation with people you're not the closest with, or just acquaintances, or people you just around for a little while, whether they classmates or people you work with or whatever the case may be. It's like you can't like really let your flowers be too ruffled. Like, you know what I'm trying to say? That you can't let your your feathers be too ruffled because then people know they got you. So I kept a cool head about it the whole time. Yeah, my voice went up a little bit because we're debating. You know what I'm trying to say? And when it comes down to making a point, I am one of those people that like to get my point across because I don't feel like I'm wrong a lot of the time. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I'm the type of person where if I am wrong, you could correct me on being wrong, so next time I am right. That's the type of person I am. I don't like being wrong. So if I am wrong and somebody do correct me on it and I go fact check it, or if you just clearly just know more about the situation that we talk about, I'm going to take what you telling me and that knowledge, fact check it, and then if I go back and talk about it again somewhere else, I know I'm not telling you no bullshit, or I know I'm not wrong about the shit I'm saying. You know what I mean? I don't like to be wrong, nigga. You feel me? I don't like to be wrong. Who like to be wrong? Nobody. So I'm the type of person where if you tell me I'm wrong, I'll be like, bet. Tell me how I can be right. And then I'm going to go, okay, cool, let me clean this up. You know what I'm trying to say? So when you pretty much get to the point where a motherfucker telling you they not having this conversation with you no more, or we ain't really going there because da-da-da, don't say that now, because you may not be in the right no more. Because if everybody would have jumped in this bitch and would have been like, yeah, and just would have beat me down, y'all just would have just kept. But when I said what I said, it's like, oh, I'm not doing this. Why not? If you was trying to correct me on the situation and you was trying to tell me how to be, which I don't really need, because I didn't really think I was wrong in the situation, and that's why I feel like, because again, this is not just any Italian. It's not even me asking his dad was he Italian. It's me asking him if his dad wasn't Italian. I mean, in the mob. You see what I'm saying? So the fact that you even said don't go outside and just ask any random Spanish person if they in the cartel, or any black person if they gang banging, or any Italian person if they're in the mob, that's not what I'm doing, and that's not what I did. We ain't here having a conversation. You said his mom know how to cook really well. He started talking about his dad, and then he mentioned how old they was and shit like that. And I was just like, yo, maybe your dad. This he said I assumed. No, I didn't assume anything. It was a thought. Because if I assumed, I would have assumed that he was in the mob too. But clearly, I can't assume that he's in the mob if he's here at school with me. You know what I mean? How could I assume that he's in the mob if you're here with me? Ain't no motherfucker in the mob, you know, at no school all day long. And if you is, you ain't really in the mob. You probably some runner or some shit, and you probably bring back cigars or go get them food subs and shit, but you ain't really in the mob. You ain't doing no mob shit. You probably got loved in because the people in it or something, but you ain't in the mob. You know? You ain't got no stain. So it's like, I ain't really trying to hear that shit. You feel me? Don't try to tell me what to ask or what not to ask or something, because I didn't just ask anybody that. You know what I'm trying to say? I didn't just ask anybody that. I asked a specific somebody that we was talking to, was his dad in the mob? And whether or not it was ignorant or not, I just don't think it was stereotyping. Just don't call it that, because I didn't just go and ask the first Italian person I seen, was he in the mob? Because that's not what happened. You see what I'm saying? I asked him if his dad was. Because if I just asked any old person, I'd have just asked him. I didn't even fucking know he was Italian. I thought he was just a regular fucking white dude. To be honest, he don't even look or sound Italian until he start really putting that shit on. You know what I mean? So, go ahead with that bullshit, man. I don't like when people just start jumping to conclusions about some shit somebody say. Because then it's like, now when we have conversations, I know now I got to tippy toe around the shit that I say, or I can't be myself around you because you're going to think some shit about me that you don't know me enough to even think some shit like that about me. So now I gotta, next time, you know, now it's like, I don't even feel like I'm really in a safe space with you no more if we talk, you know? Because the first thing you gonna say, if the shit get a little bit edgy, the first thing you gonna say is, oh, that's ignorant. Or, oh, this is the, shut the fuck up. And I ain't mad at person or none of that, because we all sat there and talked for probably 30 more minutes after that. But it's just like, that was corny. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, I just felt like you thought you was overly right about some shit. And I don't feel like you was really, I ain't gonna say you was wrong, but I just think the stereotype, maybe it was ignorant for me to ask that question, but I just don't feel like I was stereotyping. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't feel like I was stereotyping. I feel like stereotyping was the wrong word, because if I was there, and I said that just so she can say, oh, I was stereotyping, and no. Because I didn't go out and ask the first anybody, any person of their skin, if they're, you know, I didn't ask that. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, whatever designated group of people you from, you know, we all got our own little negative feedbacks about wherever we come from. You know what I'm trying to say? The gang banging, the mob, cartoon, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Every color person or every ethnic, whatever, say how the fuck you say it, because I can't even say the word correctly, ethnic group has some type of, you know, something behind them that's probably negative from wherever they come from. I didn't just go outside and just ask any random person that. You know what I'm trying to say? I didn't do that. I can see if I did that, I didn't do that. That's like the dude that just got locked up on them gun charges going outside talking about, oh, you chimping up. You know what I'm saying? You chimping out and shit. That's what that is. That's being a stereotype. That's being ignorant. Going around asking any black person, are they going to shoot them, or calling them the hard R or some shit like that. That's what that is. I didn't do that. So to say I'm being stereotypical when you got motherfuckers that's running around rage baiting people with a gun that's locked up currently, just might do life in prison behind the shit, ain't the same thing. Because that's not what I did. So I just want to know what y'all opinion on this shit is. You probably don't got to watch the whole video to get the gist on what I'm saying right now. But if you were to leave a comment or something, and or shit, anybody, you know, if you got my number, you could call me. We could kind of, you know, talk about this shit, because I thought that was just crazy. I thought that was crazy. You feel me? I ain't giving too much, but damn, it's like, that's what you got from what I said when I wasn't even talking to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's different type of Muslim people and shit, and it's all different type of groups in Muslim, ain't it? But I'm not gonna assume whatever one you are. That's not what I'm gonna do. You could be I don't even go into it, because I don't know all. I know it's like the 5%ers, and I ain't do that. You feel me? But I know you got some type of religion you believe in. You feel me? But I ain't stereotype that shit. I ain't just go ahead and say, no. Because that's too far. And it's crazy because Buddy, he pretty much threw me a bone in this situation, because he said at times people come from one place. So to even ask that question is really not that crazy. It's not as crazy as me asking his dad if he in the mobster as if he asked me if I was a gangbanger. You see what I'm saying? That's what he pretty much was saying. Like, it's not, you asking me that about my dad isn't as crazy if I was to ask you, are you a gangbanger or something? It's like, bro, man, motherfuckers be just too sensitive, gang. But I'm just leaving shit there. However, you know, you feel or whatever you think about it, let me know. I would love to hear everybody's opinion. If I don't really think this is a matter about being right or wrong. This is more so about, was I really stereotyped? Because I could be wrong. I'm not saying that. And maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. But this is more so about being a stereotype. Because that is what I 100% don't believe I did. You know what I'm trying to say? I just don't believe that. So, like I said, like, comment, subscribe, man. Let me know, and hit my phone or whatever you want to do, because I would just love to hear somebody else's opinion on it, because this is the first time I'm talking about it since the shit happened. So let me know, man.